goes from here. How's that sound?
Okay.
And again, just want to thank everybody for coming. This is a great group. I see 38 people having pay attention to everybody coming in. I've been cutting it up with Jesse and Chris. So who is all here? A little bit of everybody. And again, thank you all for coming. This is greatly appreciate it. This is something new. Chris and Jesse and Cindy and I, we've talked about a couple of times. It's trying to figure out how we get it together, and then finally just said, well, we're just gonna have to do it and make it work, right? And sometimes that's the best way to do it. Otherwise, life just slips by. There's always so much activity, so much going on. They say, oh yeah, we'll get to it next week, and next week turns into next month, and they know who knows what happens after that, right? So
Yeah,
Chris, how have you
absolutely.
been? What you been up to?
Nothing much, man. Literally, I just got back from Texas. Well, I think I hit about 9 states on the way back, but
Yay, how was the drive?
it was good. It wasn't that bad, actually. It was a 27-hour drive. Well, a total of 27-hour drive. Flew into San Antonio, Texas Wednesday. Yeah, from Wednesday, I went San Antonio, Texas to Dallas to I think it was Arkansas. No, yeah, it was Arkansas to Kentucky, to Tennessee, to Ohio, Pennsylvania, and then New York. And I
Easy
came back
peasy.
Saturday. So it wasn't that bad. It was actually, I had a great time. I was on the phone the entire time. Just trying to do business and all that good stuff, and more so trying to watch the speed limit because I do got a heavy foot. But that's how I can't help that. So overall, yeah, I'm doing well, man. I can't complain. Definitely excited to be here, and more so excited to, just be a resource and whatever that looks like for everyone on here. We got about 41 people here watching, and whoever's going to be watching the review, not the review, but the replay afterwards. Those who are new, more so Cindy, Shane, and Jesse, we're in the real estate industry, as most of you know, but those who don't know specifically, like, we come from all different backgrounds, right? And we came together specifically just to, one, be a resource to everyone and see how we can JV, and more so because there's a lot of people who start in the real estate specifically, and they don't know where to start. They really just don't know where to start. You can't do it by yourself, right? Because I tried it. It didn't work out. And I believe we all tried it and it didn't work out. Now, could you do it? Absolutely. You can definitely do it. You can definitely get there, but you won't get there quick enough. It took me 6 months to get my first deal. And now try doing that consistently in a state that's, like, those who don't know, I'm in New York. This attorney state. It takes a minimum of 45 days on average to close a transaction. Now, mind you, I only had one check in 6 months. $5,800 was my first assignment fee. Now, think about it. Can you really live off $5,800 in New York? So basically, we're saying $5,800 for every 6 months. Now, if I did that times 2,
it covers parking and a couple of Big Macs and
right.
coffee. I think
don't cover really nothing, right? So it really, it was like an eye opener, not just for myself, but for everyone, for Jesse, Cindy, and Shane, their stories as well. But joining different mentorships, working with everyone, and just JVing. Ever since my first deal, I have not yet to not do a deal with someone else, and it really scaled my business to a point where I buying deals nationally. Right? It's amazing to say I'm buying deals in Virginia, I'm buying deals in Alaska, Arizona, and all these different states where a lot of people who are greener to the industry, or not just green, just not experienced enough yet. Jesse always says it perfectly, where we're on the same book, just a couple chapters ahead. That is it. And more so, we're not trying to leave you behind. We want to get you where we're at right now, and not saying we know everything. We're not saying we know everything, but more so we come from experience, and working aside the right people is everything, especially when they have the either the resource as far as, leads, and or specifically like mobile home parks. Perfect example. Cindy and Shane just closed on that a month and a half ago. We come from experience from single family, long terms, midterms, you name it, we have experience in it. So it's just more so we want to have this Zoom to let people know that they could be vulnerable, and just not to scare you, just more so to be a resource and like, hey, we're here to help. And more so like whatever that looks like, there's no dumb questions. I really want people to understand there is not a single dumb question out there, because there's still questions to this day. Sometimes you just need some reassurance or some clarity. You just never know. And there's nothing wrong with that, because your question may be helping the rest of the individuals who is afraid to speak up, and that's okay. But we're here to get uncomfortable. So, essentially, if you do have questions, concerns, or anything you're going through right now in regards to like your business and you need a little guidance on, let us know. We can definitely have that conversation, and let's get your deals to the finish line. If you're working on something, you're just feeling stuck, reach out to any one of us. Amazing Shane created this amazing Google sheet, which I'm not an integrator, so when it comes to that kind of stuff, I don't know. But
he's heard of Google, but
Right.
can't put together a Google sheet. And I'm in the same position. So
more
thank
so
you, Shane.
we have these amazing forms that we want to give you guys, so we can squat up. And not just for that, it's going to be like a deal submission form. It's going to be also a JV form. It's going to be a lot of different factors, right? So we don't want to overwhelm you, and this is the first one. We're going to try to do this on a weekly thing, so where you guys come back with more questions, and or if you guys want our phone numbers, let us know. We love to hop on a call, love to hop on a Zoom and literally navigate you through whatever you're going through. And perfect. Thanks, Shane, for putting that. So Shane just put the submission form in the side chat for those who don't see it. Make sure you save that, pin it wherever you store things. Just make sure you keep that. So essentially, like if you do have a deal, it's pretty self-explanatory in my opinion. But if you got questions, please let us know. It just goes down your name, your email, the type of deal you have specifically, and also if you're looking to potentially wholesale it, or are you looking to partner. So there's a lot of different avenues, right? If you like to own properties that you just don't know how to get there or what to do or how to even start, this is a perfect opportunity for you to initially be own some properties. If you're looking to acquire 10 doors by the end of the year, it's great. Let's find some leads. Get if you got a lead right now you're working on, but you don't have the capital to move forward on, phenomenal. Bring it to us, submit it through the deal submission form. We'll receive it, we'll underwrite it, look at it, and ensure that we get the resources necessary to move forward. Jesse, Cindy, Shane, did I leave anything out?
Well, I just added to that form like an easy out button. If you have a contract or you have a deal in mind, you don't know what to do with it, there's a button on there now that says help. I don't know what to do with this. What's my next steps?
Can we pull that up and show everyone, Shane? And I just want to, the more information you have in that deal form, the better we can help you.
Yeah, let me pull it up real quick. Good idea, Cindy.
Thank you. And Chris, Shane, and Jesse, I get this question asked all the time. What does a JV partnership look like?
Oh, there you go. Here's my personal email address.
Great question. Great question. Let's actually, I'll have Shane go through this real quick, and then I'll answer that.
Okay.
So if you get stuck in here, you won't see my personal email address. This will show up as you when you pull this form up, but my phone number's on here. And if I didn't want to add Chris and Jesse just yet until they said it was okay, but I'll put their numbers on here if they would like. You can reach out to us if you get stuck in this form, but we want you to put all the details in this form. That way we can get a chance to look at it. First things first is we want to know who you are. So we need your email, your name, best way to get a hold of you by cell. And then we need to know what property address is, right? You have to have a property in mind to submit a deal. Otherwise, you're just asking questions, which is okay, but that's not the form to use. Come to us in the Facebook group if you have a general question. Once you have the property address, we really want to know what type of deal are we looking at. Is it a pre-foreclosure? Is it a fix and flip? Is it a wholesale lead? Are you going to do this as a rental? is it a cash only or a sub 2 or some kind of hybrid, which is a owner financed and sub 2. Just kind of give us some basic information of what you're thinking is the way to acquire the property. And we just want to know, is it an on-market deal or off-market? And if it is an on-market deal, go ahead and submit either here or at the bottom, there'll be a spot for more information. Go ahead and put the Zillow listing or the MLS listing so that we can pull it up as well. And that'll help us get all the details, pull comps, etc. And any other details that you feel are pertinent, go ahead and type it in. This is a long format. You can type as much as you want. You can type a whole story in there of what is the motivation to sell? What's the timeline? How would you come across the deal? Is this your first deal? Is this your 10th deal? Whatever information you think is pertinent to us, put it in there. I'd rather see additional information to, there's never too much information, but I like to see, well, maybe your cat's name isn't important, but as much information you can about the project, put it in here. And then what do you really want from us? Do you want us to help you close the deal? Do you need help funding the deal? Do you need help underwriting the deal? Any of that information, again, what do you want from us? So it's clear to us when we're looking at it. If it's clear to us, then we know how to help you. And who best to reach out back to you. And then if there's any documents that need to be sent. There's a couple of different spots that you can send loan documents. If it's a sub 2 deal, for example, we want to know those, what's the current mortgage balance, etc. So that's the easy peasy deal submission form in a nutshell. I'm going to stop sharing for a second and come back here and pull up the chat and see if is there any questions on that anybody wants to go over.
I think Maria
At
had
the
a
moment.
question.
So real quick, guys, I want to jump in here real quick if that's okay, and just kind of give you guys some context as to what this is, why we're doing it, what you guys can expect, and then we kind of dive into some more detailed questions if you guys have them. So there's a saying around here that it's better to share a watermelon than to eat your own grape. And there's a lot of people out there that charge just astronomical amount of money for information with no promises. You don't know if this is actually going to turn into something. And one of the things that I know specifically the four of us have done individually, and one of the things we're wanting to do to come together to kind of unite everybody, bring some more clarity, and hopefully give you guys the information that you need to be able to go in and start tackling things and doing things on your own without feeling like you're having to charge an arm and a leg, to do this. And one of the biggest things that has aided, and I can speak for Chris and I know Shindy and Sane as well, is community. Community will be the biggest thing that will aid in anybody's success. It's not having a why. It's not because you're driven. It's not because you have all this ambition to go climb Mount Everest. Has nothing to do with that. The biggest thing that will aid in your success is going to be community. And that's one of the things that I love about Shane and Cindy's Facebook group is there is that community. There is that support system. There is that consistency where you can go back, you can ask any question, and anybody is ready, willing, and able to jump on a call with you and to help you and to walk you through. And one of the best ways that I've learned to make money is by doing deals with other people. Hence, again, it's better to share a watermelon than to eat your own grape. Let's all freaking eat. And so the reason we wanted to put this together, we thought, hey, you know what? Why don't we just get everybody who's wanting to make a lot of money in one room, and let's talk about how we can do that. And the best part is we're not going to ask anybody for the credit card information. We're not going to ask you for your blood type or your social security number or anything like that. This is all so we can get in here and we can take things down. We can do deals together. We can make money together. We can build long lasting and meaningful relationships. So I just kind of wanted to preface with that. And I'll share a quick story on one of the things that Chris and I have done to learn this, and I think we've not only streamlined it, but I think that we have done, I don't know anybody else who's doing what Chris and I are doing in terms of building relationships and being intentional with those relationships to the point that we're actually monetizing and doing a lot of really great things. And I'll share a quick story for everybody who doesn't know Chris and I live in New York. Oh, wait a minute.
I live
Chris,
in New
that's
York,
you
but-
that live in New York, right? Ah, gotcha. I thought he was going to swap it this time. No, so I live in Alaska. It's kind of like New York. It's Diet Alaska, right? Like you're in that like upstate New York area / Canada. I call it Diet Alaska. But I live in Alaska and Chris lives in New York. And we have been in business together since June 1st of last year. That was so we just hit we're about to hit, come August 1st, we'll hit our 14-month anniversary. And it's funny, Chris and I are actually only 20 days apart, which is even more cool. Birthday wise. So Chris and I went into business June 1st of last year. And one of the things that we ended up doing is we were like, hey, you know what? We've been in real estate for a handful of years now. We've been doing creative finance at a high level. We've been buying properties and leveraging, other people's money and credit and debt to buy properties. And we thought, hey, you know what? We've got this relationship. We work really well together. Chris and I attended a mastermind together one time. This was March of last year. And this mastermind that we were in, one of the speakers, he gave us a piece of information that was absolutely incredible. And I'll kind of share that with you guys just because I thought it just held so much weight. And it really helped us shift our mindset a little bit into who we thought we could become and the things that we thought we were capable of becoming. And well, I'll share two of those things. One of those things is he said, Jesse and Chris, it's not who you think you are that's holding you back. So Chris and I were sitting here pondering. There's probably about 30 of us in this room. And we're sitting here pondering this. Okay, so it's not who we think we are that's holding us back. What is this? What's he getting at here? So we started thinking about, Chris and I are sitting there kind of talking with each other about who we think we are. And we thought, hey, we're both fathers. We're both siblings. We're sons. We're neighbors. I'm a spouse. Some of the things that we want to do, we want to be able to give back to our family. We want to be able to retire our parents. We want to be able to create that, more time freedom to give back to our family, to travel and do all these things. So probably a lot of the things that you guys that are here with us right now want to do. And then he continued and he said, okay, it's not who you think you are that's holding you back. And again, we thought all those things are who we are. And we're like, okay, cool. Got it. Why isn't that holding us back? What's holding us back? And he continued and he said, it's who you think you are not. And I thought, oh my gosh. And I started thinking about all these different things. Like I want to create all these millions and millions and millions of dollars. And I want to do all these things. I want to buy these properties. I want to get into, these 200 or 300, 500 unit apartment complexes. But I kept telling myself, and maybe a lot of you guys can resonate with this as well. Like I'm not ready for that yet. I'm not ready for that yet. I've got to do this. I'm not this type of individual with this experience, or, I'm not this type of individual that could go do that. And can anybody in the chat resonate with this? Do you guys have things that you're looking that you want to do in your business, but just some of those thoughts that you have of, well, I'm not ready for this yet. Well, I've got to do this, and for baby steps first. I've got to do this, and this. I need to do that within the first 6 months, and then I can go do something. And he continued and he said, it's who you think you are not. That's what's holding you back. So it's not who you think you are that's holding you back. It's who you think you are not. And it was such incredible advice. He followed that with a story. And he said, and I think this is great for anybody who is wanting to do this. He said, I got a phone call from a buddy of mine one time. And he said, Pace, I need you to get over to my office right now. So he goes on over to his buddy's office, and his buddy had about 10 or 12 people there. And he says, hey, I need everybody in here to show me exactly what's in your account right now. How much money are you making? How much money is your business making? How much money is in your business account? And what is in your personal account? I want to know all this. You guys could probably agree. That's a pretty tall order to be asking somebody. That's a pretty intimate question. Wouldn't you guys agree?
Absolutely.
But a couple people actually walked out. But everybody else who stayed, he looked at everybody else and he said, hey, you know what? And they're all really close individuals. He said, I want you guys to be making 25% more by this time next year in your business, or you are out. You're out. Because I've only got 24 hours in a day. And the individuals that I need to be surrounding myself with, that I need to be having these conversations with, need to be individuals who are going to be pushing me and not only holding me accountable, but allowing me the opportunity to become that person to hold you accountable. That's a whole different line of accountability. Would you guys agree? Let me see in the chat. Would you guys agree with that? I mean, it's not to say that we're not friends. It's not to say our families aren't going to get together. It's not to say we're not going to go out to dinner with each other. But it means, hey, you know what? We're no longer talking every day. You're out of the group text. I mean, that's a whole nother level of accountability. So if there's something that I can give you guys right now to start, to take from this thing, it is find yourselves a board of advisors, maybe 3 to 5 people that you can share some of these intimate things that you guys are wanting to do to stay on course, to stay consistent. Somebody you can report to who are going to give you that same level of accountability, and not just the, hey, it's okay, life happens, you're busy. No, you know what? Another piece of advice I got: millionaires don't complain about time.
Yeah.
So that's the environment that we want to be able to create right here with you guys. So I just wanted to set that precedence before we move forward. One more thing I'll add on that real quick, and then we can kind of get into a little bit more Q&A over that form and what JV looks like, because I know there was a question about JV as well. When you guys come to these Zoom meetings, I know there's a lot of people here that have their cameras off, they're on mute, and that's okay, because I've done the same thing in the past. But that also, you're missing an opportunity to be as intentional as you could be with the people that you could be building relationships with. Think about it like this in your head. Think about it metaphorically speaking. Let's pretend like this Zoom was the equivalent of you guys walking into a boardroom full of other real estate professionals. Okay, you walk into this boardroom. How many people we got in here right now? 56 people. So let's pretend like you're walking into a boardroom right now with 56 other people, and you're sitting around a room that accommodates 56 other people. And eventually you're going to have the opportunity to say something, to speak up, or to even get in the comments. And throughout that meeting, they're going down the line. Hey, what is it that you need? What do you need? What do you need? What do you need? What do you need? And everybody who turns their camera off or stays on mute, that's the equivalent of you having an opportunity to say something or to have some sort of intention or expectation coming out of this meeting with something that you need, and you're not taking advantage of that. So think about that. And as we continue what we're doing right now, as we continue these Zoom meetings, I just wanted to give you guys some context and something to think about where you could come in and go into these meetings, not even just these meetings, but any other Zoom meetings that you guys are part of, any podcasts that you guys listen to. Because I know most people turn their camera off, they turn their phone off. And I used to do the same thing. So I totally get it. But I want to share some of the things that especially the 4 of us are doing that has completely changed not only the dynamics of our business, but the relationships that we have in place to be able to scale our business like this. And it's from coming in here. It's from being intentional. It's from getting into the comments. A lot of times I'll approach a Zoom meeting with nothing other than the intention of, I need to get in here because I know this is going to be a great Zoom meeting with other high caliber individuals I'm going to want to network with. And I'm going to get into the comments and I'm going to say, hey, my name is Jesse Stanton. I'm an investor. I'm buying creative. I'm buying all over the country. Here's where I can help you. I would love to connect with 10 other people coming out of this meeting. Or I would at least love to get your contact information from 10 other people coming out of this meeting, and we can line up a time later this week to hop on a call. And I would love to hear more about what you have going on. What are your struggles? What do you have and what do you need? And where can we come into alignment and make some freaking money?
Amen.
So to make a
brother.
long story short, guys, I just wanted to, before we get too far into this, I wanted to give you guys some context, some things to think about. So you're not in a position where you're necessarily just consuming content, but you are being active with the information, the things we're talking about, and the other individuals in here. Again, going back to that boardroom, right? If this Zoom is the equivalent of being in a boardroom with other real estate professionals. Don't be the one that just comes in here and sits there and just listens, and you had the opportunity to say something where everybody could hear you. So please keep the comments going. Whatever it is that you guys need, we're here to help. We're here to help be a resource. We're here to be intentional with what it is you guys are trying to do, and see how we can all come in here and make some money, start changing our business, the direction, and go from that person that we are and making those changes, getting uncomfortable, putting ourselves in circumstances that are ultimately going to get us to that person that we're capable of becoming.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Well-
rant over.
Well
But
said.
I wanted to preface with this
Well
so you guys
said.
had some direction.
No, well said. I mean, you know what, just this point, we were at that Reen Live. And, you know, everyone knew my face. And then I didn't know, they came up to me, but I was like, I didn't know who they were, right? So, which is great, but yeah, we can't, you know, we all want to do business. Turn on your cameras, start chatting, start talking.
100%. I'll share you a quick, I'll share you quick just so you guys can actually see. So Chris and I, we went into business June 1st of last year. We've both been in real estate for a couple of years at that point, and we went into business June 1st. We were actually we were on each other's board of advisors when we came out of that mastermind. It was me, Chris, and about 3 other people. And after about the first 2.5 months of us being on each other's board of advisors for each other, obviously we got to know each other a little bit more, and we thought, hey, you know what? Let's do something. Let's get intentional. We're like this. For us not to be doing stuff together would just be a freaking waste, man. And so we started our business ship June 1st of last year. And within the first 60 days, because we were being intentional with simply just our networking, I kid you guys not, within the first 60 days, Chris and I cleared over $72,000 in the month of August.
That is true.
And wholesale fees. And it's just been growing ever since. It's been awesome. And it just that going back to that mindset of the things that you think you're not capable of, it's all just holding you back. When you understand that business, just life in general, it's all mindset. And that mindset changes the way that you start thinking about things differently, the people you start surrounding yourself with, which includes, again, why I can't hammer down enough, being intentional in these types of meetings, in the chat and with the people that you want to connect with, so that you can continue growing, changing your perception, which is going to change your emotion about things, which is going to change the action you guys end up taking.
Yeah.
So again, Jesse, I think it's a great point, having that battle buddy, right? That at least one person. You can't be a community by yourself. You got to have at least one other person, you know. And it wasn't until Cindy and I connected, and, you know, there's been others that have came and went, but Cindy and I have been through and through, just kind of in the beginning struggling as well, right? But because we clicked, we get along like you two do, we drive each other. And in those hard times when you go, man, this is really rough. I'm spending money, no deals are coming in, my phone's not ringing, or it's ringing and everybody's telling me no. Having that accountability partner that says, all right, that was yesterday. Who we calling tomorrow? You know, and just you got to keep going, and it helps to have that accountability partner or someone else that says, "Hey, I love what you're doing, but if you just did this one thing, you know, that outside perspective is so golden. Sometimes you're so far in the weeds yourself, you can't see what's just right around the corner, and that other person can see that, and it just helps have that third perspective, you know."
Mhm.
Absolutely, brother. Absolutely. Chris, do you want to talk about JV real quick? Because I know that was the initial question that was asked.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So when it comes to JV, guys, is JV is meaning joint venture, right? It's one or more parties, well, actually two more parties working together to essentially get it to the finish line. Whether that's you bring the lead and maybe call someone like Shane to say, hey, you know, I have a lead right here. What is the next steps? Can we hop on the phone to talk to the seller? There's so many different ways of JVing, whether that's a partnership or, you know, maybe you're a lender, maybe you just have capital, maybe you want to be on the back side of things. And hey, I got $20,000. Do you have any deals that, you know, I could park my money in? And more so private money lending is another topic itself. But when it comes to JVing, joint venturing, that's the way you're going to scale your business transparently. That's going to be the only way. Can you do, like, again, I said it earlier, can you do it by yourself? Yes, but it's going to be a lot more challenging, and more so, like, it's okay to face those obstacles, but why not face those obstacles with multiple individuals and put your brains together and see how you can get it to the finish line? There's a lot of people who reach out and want a JV, but they don't understand the true definition of JV. There's many parts of JVing, you know, whether that's being boots on the ground. Maybe you're local to Texas. Maybe you live in Texas and we have a property in Texas. We may have a 12 unit and we need you to be boots on the ground. Would you love to joint venture and see how we can take this down together? Maybe we can you know, pay you to be the property manager, or, you know, what, again, I'm making an example. I'm not saying this is the case, but there's so many different ways. And
So
just
many.
JV in itself, it just more so. That's why initially the form, not to just to, I think you put the submission form, but I think there's a JV form that you should put in the link as well. I mean, not the link,
Right.
but in the chat as well. And specifically, anytime we work with people, we always want to make sure that's in place, because it doesn't just protect us, it protects you as well. If you're working on 123 Main Street, then 123 Main Street is yours. So we're not going to go behind your back. We want to ensure that we have that JV agreement in place to let you know that we're working on it collectively. So if we need to reach out to the seller, the agent, or lender, title company, whoever the parties involved, we have already that paper in place that one, we can speak on behalf of you, and two, even if you want to be a fly on the wall, we can do that. If you want to be a fly on the wall, we can definitely jump on a three-way call and have that conversation with the agent or seller. If you're nervous to talk to sellers and agents, that is okay. That is okay. I know a lot of people who don't speak to a single seller or agent. It makes 6 figures a month. And I'm not saying go away from that. So I'm just saying, as an example, whatever your avatar is, whether that's, you know, a closer, maybe you like to be in a vision, maybe you're a visionary or an integrator. I don't know what that looks like. There's literally 56 people on here right now, and it's just 56 different personalities, 56 different likes. You know, me personally, I don't mind paperwork. There's people out there that despise it, don't want to touch it. Jesse's
Cindy.
perfect example.
Yeah. Want nothing to do it.
So
Paperwork is my kryptonite, bro.
and that is totally okay, right? So if, whatever your niche is, you literally want to find other individuals who like that. I mean, who does the opposite. So if, you know, like, perfect example, if Jesse doesn't like paperwork, he's going to find somebody who does like paperwork. And if someone likes being on the phones, Jesse loves being on the phones. So essentially, when it comes to being on the phones, if you don't like being on the phones, reach out to Jesse, reach out to Cindy, Shane, whoever that looks like. But just to let you know, we're JVing, it comes in all forms. There's not it's not all in one box. So it's kind of hard to answer that initial question that was asked. But when it comes to JVing, Shane, myself, and Shane, myself, and Cindy and Jesse, we can definitely guide you. But initially, before we even start any of the process, we always got to make sure that documents in place. So there's no ifs and buts about it because, well, we're pretty black and white. There's no gray areas. You know, we're straight shooters, and we always want to make sure, like, hey, this is what we're going to do for you. This is what the next steps. Where did you leave off? How can we get to the finish line? Where did you leave? It's just a lot of different things. It made the questions may seem tedious, but we have to ask those questions to ensure that we can just take the ball and run with it. So it may seem like you just asked me that question like 3 different times, but we have to ask it because we want to make sure we have clarity so we can get it to the finish line. And guys, let me know if I missed anything out far as when it comes to JVN.
No, Chris, I think you're spot on. I think I'd just like to ask the group, where do they think they are stuck at in their journey of real estate investing? Is it finding deals? Is it getting deals funded? Is it underwriting? Is it just overwhelming? What part of the process do you think, where do you see you need help?
Absolutely. I love that. And Heather asked a great question as well. How about a strength and weakness form?
Oh, there you go, Laura. That's good.
Don't we have that already? Shane, the third form we created?
Dropping forms left and right. my friend.
I didn't think we were going to go over all of them today, but they're asking phenomenal questions. I might just throw it at them.
That's a good
If
thing.
not,
Keep me on my
We-
toes.
Shane is a Google sheet genius, so if it's not there, we can figure it out.
So we have
Uh,
great. I need your guidance. I'll DM you, Shane. Derek's gonna reach out, Shane. Julie says for me, finding deals and knowing. Let me go back up. Knowing the first step, the take, finding deals, funding. Okay. Nancy
got
is
a lot of-
overwhelming for me to sense for a month. So I'm trying to set up virtual wholesaling. I
So
have
to give you
access
guys some context, this is actually really great. Throw some stuff in
Yeah.
the comments. If you guys, we'd actually love to have a conversation with you guys. We'd love for you guys to come off mute. This Zoom is more of meant as an introductory, just to kind of introduce you guys and give you guys some concepts, something to think about, because whatever those obstacles that you guys are facing in your business, the question that most people get wrong is, how do I overcome this? If I don't have leads, how do I figure out how to do this? And how do I learn how to do this? I see Elizabeth kind of shaking her head. Elizabeth, do you agree with that?
Yeah, and I was just gonna make the comment. Cindy really helped me yesterday. I had looked at a few deals this weekend, or a few properties, and I was struggling with underwriting it. I mean, because I thought, oh, this sounds like a good deal. You know, it already has a renter in place. It was a Section 8 renter, and the numbers kind of seemed right to me, knowing I didn't have any funding. Okay. So I just I felt, I felt overwhelmed with that, even though, it looked right. I was trying to figure it out on my own. And so I reached out to Cindy, and she was amazing help. I mean, she, just really helped me talk through it and go through the numbers, and come to find out it really, because the rent was low, I think if the rent had been higher, the numbers could have worked. And if the seller would have agreed to create a finance, that's, I knew the seller, wasn't open to that. They wanted a cash offer. And so to me, just talking through that with her, because numbers has never really been my strong point. And so I didn't feel intimidated by it, because I'm learning too. She said that's the way I felt with it. And so it really made me feel just okay to say it. This is not my strength. Numbers, I freak out kind of something, so it was very helpful. So I just want to say thank you.
And I appreciate it. Numbers they are not my strength, but I had to do it repetitively about 100 times. Then I figured out how to do it.
And that's what I want to. I want to get there where I feel confident in it, and I'm not
Shane, I will learn it. So I did.
I will too. And so I've got another one that I'm looking at. I'm waiting to hear if they will be agreed to seller finance as well. So I'm realizing maybe that should always be my first question. Are you open to seller finance? Especially since I don't have a lot of capital, you know, for down payments and holding funds and all of that too.
So maybe moving forward, maybe we kind of do some of these meetings every week where we break down specific topics and help you guys better understand how you guys can pitch these and how you guys can have these conversations. Melissa Browning, can you come off mute? Because I just seen you to go into what Elizabeth was just kind of talking about, except, you know, this is sub 2. I want to address something real quick, just kind of give you guys something to think about. Because after all, this whole thing is we want to show you guys everything and everything. Chris and I and Cindy and Shane are not going to hold anything back. Again, we have nothing to sell you. At no point are we ever going to hold back any sort of information that you guys want to know so that we can sell it to you later. We have absolutely nothing to sell. The reason why we're here is because we want to show you guys what we know so you guys can go out and do this stuff. And we can figure out a way that we can all take these down together, or we can all make money together. Whether you guys wanted to buy properties, whether you guys want to act as a lender, as a wholesaler, start up your wholesaling business, learn creative finance, whatever that is, that's the intent of this. We have nothing to sell you. So anything and everything you guys want to know about seller finance, sub 2, how to pitch things, all that stuff, that's what the things we're going to be talking about. So if you guys have stuff that happens throughout the week, please write that stuff down so that we can come back here and we can address it in full detail. Because one of the things that the 4 of us specifically pride ourselves on, it's not enough to just explain something to somebody and then say, okay, go do it. Right? Because I'm not that type of person. I know Chris isn't that type of person. If I'm learning something new, I'm one of the persons that need to be held by the hand. And I need to say, hey, you know what? Don't just tell me, show me.
Mhm.
Yeah, well,
Does anybody else resonate with that? Are you guys the
Yes,
same way?
absolutely.
Those are some of the things that we need to put into
Absolutely.
place.
Yes,
very much so.
absolutely.
Beautiful. Melissa, could you come off mute for a second so we can have a conversation?
I think she had to jump off.
Melissa Browning?
Yeah, I think she had to jump off.
Oh, did she?
As soon as you said her name, she ran. I'm just playing.
Yeah.
I'm just playing.
Oh, she did. Dang it. Okay.
Savannah, are you there?
Sonia has a question. She's got a cowboy hat and everything. You just gotta unmute yourself, Sonia.
Hello, thanks for inviting me, Cindy, to this. So
Yeah.
this is where I am. I used to do real estate investment a long time ago where someone else found the properties. And then after 5 years, I got out of it because I had to take care of my father. So the ring came to me and, joined the ring. That's why I met Cindy. But my thing is, I just need someone, I can look at plenty of videos all day long, but I just need someone to show me the money. I'm looking for, where do you find the foreclosed homes at? What is the best software and the tools that you need to use to make sure you're getting your contract? I know how to do the ARV. I know how to do the 70%, 70 cents that we're supposed to be doing. That is one thing. I had a property that was in Texas, and to help a person to take it out of foreclosure. But then after we did the comps for it, just want to make sure I did the comps right. We only had one property to put by it. So we actually turned the deal down. I went to the property when I was there in Texas. So, and I videoed the property. The property had some damage work from a storm that happened there a couple of weeks ago prior to that. And it just didn't look like a good deal. So me and the person that was looking at the comps and everything, we just thought it was not a good deal. Probably could have been a good deal, but his foreclosure goes through sometime within the next 10 days. And he filed bankruptcy. He actually took the house out of bankruptcy for us to look at it. But we just didn't think it was a good deal. The property, because one thing, the property taxes stated that the house was a 3-bedroom, 1 bath. When he purchased the house, whoever was the company that he bought the house, was buying the, home from, they converted the garage over to a bedroom and a master bath. However, it is not on the courthouse steps, so we sort of turned it down. My main thing is I'm starting over now, and I work a W-2 right now, and I want to make sure that I'm doing what I need to do to get me and some other ladies. It's like 7 of us that we all met at the same place, and we're in the same boat, and we're all trying to take it piece by piece by piece to work together so that we can all eat, so we can all, share. I'm in agreement with what you're saying, but we just want to make sure we don't want to waste money on software that's really not working or really is not good or something else. And if you all are doing it, you are pros at doing it. We just need to learn how to do it. And that's it.
So I kind of wish I knew who was speaking. I don't have powers right now.
Sonia.
Shane
That
took
was
that away from
Sonia.
me.
Sonia
You can at
Riggs,
least
I'm
spot
sorry.
at her so I can see who she is.
Well, you gotta tell the old man to do it.
But no, Sonia, you asked a lot of great, you made a lot of great statements and you asked a lot of questions as well. So I want to touch on more so the foreclosure stuff real quick. So in regards to the foreclosure, there's a lot of different ways you can attack foreclosures. Is actually, you don't really have to pay for anything transparently. If you go down to your local county, there's a list. Just talk to your county and just specifically ask for a list for, well, I don't know the name of your county. Like I'm in Monroe County. I literally, if it was me going down to the county, I'll just say, hey, can I give me last month's foreclosure list for Monroe County? And they can't tell you no. Part of their job is to give that information out. Some people are old school, like Tennessee. Those are in Tennessee, a little bit old school. Depending on the specific county, you have to quote unquote go look at their most recent newspaper. And I haven't seen one of those in a long time. But 9 out of 10, you can always go to the county. They'll give you a free list right then and there. Unless you know specifically, it won't tell the specific date, but it'll let you know that within the next, 45 to 60 days, this house is going to auction or is being foreclosed on. But you can keep your overhead low. You don't have to spend a lot of money to do foreclosures. Actually, I think foreclosures is actually the number 1 list right now in the real estate market, just in general. A lot of people, unfortunately, they're in unforeseen situations due to the fact of whatever they're going through, right? And this is every day is growing. It's growing. I hate to say it, but it's growing. And this actually creates a lot of opportunity for us as real estate investors to come in and actually solve their problem. And that being creative, we can do it creatively. We can do it. Sometimes we can do it even traditionally, if the numbers work out. But more so, this would be a perfect opportunity for a little to no money out of your own pocket. And so you don't have to use your own money. You don't have to use your own money. There's a lot of people, like for actually perfect example, myself. All the properties I own right now, I did not use none of my own money, not a single dollar, and it's okay. As Jesse talked about earlier, get around the right people and the board. Develop your own board of advisors. I'm not for sure what state or city you're in, but I'm 1,000% sure there's people in your community that you can actually meet up on a weekly or a monthly basis. And perfect example, actually, or virtually. Jesse's in Alaska. I'm in New York. Shane's look like he's in Kentucky, but he's
I'm currently in Michigan.
Arizona.
Yeah. Then he's in Arizona.
So just more so you don't limit yourself. That's all I'm just trying to say. I think you're asking phenomenal questions, and if you get around the right people to push you, you're gonna do great.
Yeah. So Sonia, I would reach out to your county and even title companies.
Oh
For
yeah,
free.
100%.
Okay.
Start that way.
Yep.
Okay.
Go door knock or do postcard. Door knocking is a fabulous idea.
Yeah, absolutely. I can't do it in the winter, but I don't know about that.
Okay, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
No worries, no worries.
And
Laura,
I love this
come on down.
conversation because it just shows that we need to do some different shows again on different lead generation sources. So I love it. Appreciate it.
Absolutely.
How we doing?
Hello there. Well, I live in California, so all the great deals I see, all these great deals are not in my state, they're everywhere else. So my problem is that I don't know, because I don't know those states, I don't know those neighborhoods, I don't know what's a good area, bad area. So I want to buy and hold properties to get some rental income in other states because they're reasonably priced, but I don't know where to look. Would it be best option for me to JV with somebody that lives in that state? Is that would be the best option? Because it's harder to invest out of state if I can't actually be boots on the ground there. You
I
guys do that are
disagree.
out of. state.
I disagree,
I'm asking
Laura.
you- No. What do you do? This, you can't, this is what I believe. So what do you do to overcome that objection in your area? What do you do? I'm gonna say
One,
possible.
I,
I'm gonna say
I
the-
was third. No.
Okay.
I think you're asking a great question, but more so it gears back to mindset. As Jesse stated earlier, you're putting yourself in a box of thinking it's difficult. I used to think the same thing in New York. I thought I had to only wholesale or do deals in my backyard, but my entire business is virtual in all 50 states. And it's more so the who not how principle. And that's how we build our entire business. Although like for instance, Illinois is a perfect example. If I want to buy a property in Illinois, I'll just literally reach out to somebody who's boots on the ground in Illinois and have that conversation like, hey, this is the property I have. How can we work together to get this to the finish line? And or specifically, even if you don't have any boots on the ground, there's ways around it. You can always reach out to a lot of people. You can reach out to our community. I'm not for sure what the number is, but I think we're over 1,000 in the community. Cindy and Shane.
1,700 last.
1,800.
I'm 1,000,000%. There's literally boots on the ground in every state, every single state.
Even Alaska.
What I'm saying is, I'm asking, should I do boots on the ground? That's what I was asking, should I do, is it my only option just to JV with somebody in that state? Is that my only option? Because I can't actually be there.
Well, we can't make that determination. You have to make that determination for yourself if you're comfortable doing that.
To answer your question though, yeah, I think that would be a great way to go about it. Absolutely. Yeah, I'd go find somebody in that area or who's even familiar with the area. There, I think there's more. I think there's probably a deeper underlying thing that you're asking that maybe we don't quite understand yet. Because Chris lives in New York. I'm in Alaska. I know Chris and I specifically are buying things all over the country, and neither one of us are obviously live anywhere else. So I'm just maybe there's something that I'm missing in your question specifically,
question
Laura, and
is,
I apologize
How
for
would
that.
I go about doing it? That's my question. I know it's possible. I know people have done it. I don't know how to do that. How would I find something out of state? Am I forced to go with realtors only and looking for like on Redfin to find? So I'm
Gotcha.
asking how, because everyone tells, yeah, it's be done. Yes, I know it can be done. but I don't-
Gotcha.
how-
Okay. You're asking how do I even find these properties if
Yeah.
I'm not in my local
Well,
area?
not finding them, how do I do the deal in that state? Because I can find them, I can research, I'm good at researching, I can find stuff, but how do I do it if I'm not there? Do I have to get a partner that can look at the property and walk through it to see what the repair estimations are?
Absolutely.
That's what I'm trying to say is
Absolutely.
how do I do, what's the logistics of it?
Great question.
Jesse, can I say, because I've talked to Laura a few times here. So Laura, which area do you want to work in? What area of the country do you want to work in? Since we know California is not the greatest to wholesale in. Oh, I can't hear you. You're on mute. You're on mute, Laura.
Sorry, I pressed the wrong button. I'm thinking like Midwest, maybe like Ohio or that general area because
So,
very
Brit-
stable rents.
Brittany- So Brittany
Missouri.
Harg, she's somewhere, she's in Ohio, okay? And what you can do, because she works during the day. So what you could do is possibly partner with her, right? And you do all the research during the day, the phone calls to the sellers, right? And she can partner with you and be your boots on the ground. And then we can help you
Can't
close
do
the
phone
deal.
calls. I can't do phone calls. That's my kryptonite is talking to sellers is my kryptonite. I can do everything. with
Okay.
that. It's just, that's, social anxiety, so I'm terrified of,
That's okay. Well, you're doing great now. So
you guys, but not because you're not gonna be, telling me to F off and hang up, it's a whole different.
All been there. Is there anybody in here? We got 50 people on here. Is there anybody who is like, dude, you know what? I want to make money and I want to buy houses, but the only thing that I want to do is just talk to sellers. Is there anybody in here? If you are, throw it in the chat. I've seen a couple hands.
Talking to
seen a
sellers.
couple
I don't
hands up.
mind
Heather-
talking to-
Heather's like me.
I'm good with it.
Yeah,
Okay,
I'm
so-
great with phone calls.
There you go,
So-
Laura, right there. If
I don't mind
there was
talking
some
to
way,
anybody. I don't
there's
mind
an
talking
Missouri,
to
by the way.
anybody.
so
I'm
just
in
great
Missouri.
advice. If there for any obstacles that you guys face in your business, again,
That's
most
right.
people, 9.9 people out of 10, their first mindset is to go, okay, how do I overcome this? And how do I learn how to talk to sellers? Because I don't like doing it. It's not a good use of my time. It takes me a lot of time to sit here and prep and think about, all right, what am I going to say? How's this going to go? What if I say the wrong thing? And that's okay. That's okay. Everybody has different talents. Everybody has different superpowers. And the question you shouldn't be asking yourself is, hey, how do I summon up if it's not my strength, how do I summon the enthusiasm to go and make these calls? The great thing about this is most people are asking, how do I do this? The question you should be asking yourself is, who's already doing this? And who can I just reach out to and say, hey, you know what? I've got leads. If I could generate leads like a mofo, what if I just send them to you and you just call them? And we work hand in hand that way. We'll create a CRM and we can track these leads, and that's how we'll work together. So there's an amazing book. If you guys have not read it, definitely write this down, pick it up this week. It is called Rocket Fuel, and it'll help give you guys a lot of clarity and better refine some of the things that I'm talking about with regard to JVing with people and understanding what your role is and the people that you're working with, what their role is, and how you guys should be working in unison in a way that complements each other and not necessarily in a way where you guys are doing the same things. But Laura, if you just with that one question, there was a couple of people coming off mute and I saw a handful of people raising their hands right there saying, hey, yo, if you got leads to call, baby, I will call them, because you know what? I don't want to sit behind the computer. I don't like doing that stuff. All I want to do is just be on the phone. So problem solved right there.
Which book for Rocket Fuel is 2 books for Rocket Fuel? Which one?
There's 2 books for Rocket Fuel?
Yeah, it's a Rocket Fuel, one essential combination that will get you more than what you want, and then it's another Rocket Fuel that's athletic.
No, Tara, I got it for you.
Shane will find it and share like a screenshot of it real quick or something, or share his screen.
The
Yeah.
author. You have an author?
Yeah, one is by Genome Wicked, the other one is by Mike C. Rock.
It is by Gino Wickman.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Laura, did that help answer your question at all?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
If you get stuck, Laura, just give me a call and I can help you pair up with somebody or,
I'd
or I
appreciate
can
it.
help you
Thank
with the
you so much.
calls or whatever.
Thank you.
So.
All right.
Sorry,
Awesome.
got a
Looks
lot-
like we got a
lot
few
of
more
hands
hands
raised.
up.
Got a lot of our hands raised.
There's an easy link there for you too, if you want it.
Awesome. Shane posted the link to that book in the chat for you guys.
Yeah.
Thank
I
you for
just
doing
saw
that,
it.
brother.
Thanks.
Just
All right. This next one, is
That's
it
what it is right
Zana?
there. Looks like that one.
Oh,
Yep.
there it is. There it is. Yep. Shane's got the hard copy.
I have a book collection.
Did we get Zana up there, Shane?
I got it. Oh, she has to. Only way that can happen if she take her video.
Are you looking for me?
Zana?
Zana, yeah.
I don't see her. If she doesn't have
Got
a
her
camera on, I
face.
won't be able to spotlight her.
Yeah, my camera's
Spotlight
on.
her.
Can you guys hear me?
Oh,
There
you
do you have
go.
two
Yeah,
accounts
of
by
them. Yeah, two
chance?
accounts. Okay, I found her.
I
Hey.
didn't have any specific questions, but I'm in New Jersey and I love to JV with someone. I'm kind of starting out, but looking to do like pretty much anything or everything.
Where in New Jersey?
I'm in Northern Jersey in Livingston, kind of like
okay.
near Newark.
Yep, I know where it is.
Yeah, I'm not too far from Pennsylvania, you know, depending on where in Pennsylvania, Connecticut, New York. So it's a good area, but it's, you know,
Yes.
like New York, very expensive here. So I guess my biggest challenge is just trying how to estimate, you know, repair costs so I can figure out how to make the offers and what, you know, a good price is. So
So you just need to figure out how to run comps and what the ARVs, how to come up with those ARVs.
yeah, I think I've got it mostly down how to run the ARVs and the comps, but then having to figure out like a realistic estimate for repairs
Uh-huh.
is kind of, you know, like, I mean, I'm initially planning on wholesaling. If I find the right kind of deal, I would hold it as a rental.
Yep.
And that kind of deal to me would be one that wouldn't require a whole lot of repairs, at least initially. But, you know, just to know enough to estimate repairs so that I could get, you know, the correct offer out
Mhm.
such that a buyer would want to take the deal.
Mhm.
You know, so, you know,
For
that's
sure.
kind of where I'm at.
So have you done any wholesaling deals at all yet? Or are you working on your first one right now?
Not yet. No, I'm working on, I've done like a lot of searching on deals. I haven't actually made, well, tried to make an offer through a realtor who didn't want to even bring it to, you know, the client.
Gotcha.
But, so I'm still, you know, working on that, but, I have
Okay.
marketing out and stuff. But even
Can I
just,
ask you a couple clarifying
oh,
questions real
sure,
quick?
sure, go ahead.
Are you, what does your marketing look like right now? Are you doing direct to seller or are you working direct to agent? Because I know you mentioned clients in there as well.
Yeah, no, I've been sending postcards to sellers, direct to sellers. The only reason I was involved with an agent was because I was on a real estate agents had like a webinar about, you know, it was like a whole bunch of different issues on getting your home ready. What are the new trends? So you know, I've just been going on a lot of different webinars to get information, and the realtor kept calling me. So I just, you know, connected with them, let them know I'm an investor.
Mhm.
And then they brought me a potential deal, you know, that's going to be a cash offer deal, but then they didn't like the, you know, the price that I said I'd be willing to buy it for. So, you know,
Yeah,
he
that
didn't want
makes
to go
sense.
through
You'll
all
hear
the
that a lot.
paperwork and all that. Yeah. So, that was a short-lived conversation, but, you know, at least, you know, I've connected with him. So,
Gotcha. So just real quick, pinpoint for me real quick, just the what is the specific thing that you're having trouble with?
I guess knowing like a per square foot number of what like repair costs would be in
Okay.
North New Jersey. So I was thinking like 150 per square foot, but then it just brings it just makes it so expensive and the offer has
Yeah.
to be so low. So
Well, I'll give you some of my advice, and it looked like Chris was getting ready to say something too. I'll just kind of highlight something. I'm sure Shane, Cindy, and Chris could probably jump in here a little bit too. So being that Chris and I do stuff nationwide, you're right. Like, especially when you're running rehab numbers, you want to kind of have a more intimate knowledge of the area and things like that. But to mine and Chris's experience, the issue that most people have wholesaling is that they lock it up too high and not necessarily too low. And so one of the things with that in mind, I don't overthink it. Just quick, we call it, Chris and I call it beer math, because Chris and I are both terrible at math. It's our Achilles heel. So we call it beer math. Just one quick way, without even knowing anything about the property. If a property is worth $100,000 then without even knowing anything else, if the ARV is $100,000, where does our cash offer need to be? Do you know?
Well, I mean, 65 to 70%, but then it's, you get the repairs. I mean, do you
Right.
just
Right.
go? extra
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
it's the repair
So-
part. I don't know how to do.
For sure, for sure. Well, I just want to keep in mind, I just wanted to, this is something to just keep in mind for everybody too. I'll give you some advice on some of the things that I've seen, but there's just a general rule of thumb that Chris and I always use. What we're trying to do is just to get into the ballpark here.
Right.
That's all we're doing. And then we have a due diligence period and we can go back and renegotiate if the repairs are worse or if they, whatever. But I always go 60 cents on the dollar, especially with the market the way that that it is right now. And I just kind of put that out as a feeler, whether I'm talking to the seller, whether I'm talking to the agent. And it's nothing that I really put in like a solidified offer. But if somebody's asking for $100,000 without even knowing anything about the property, I know that my offer's got to be around 60 grand. So then I'm talking with the seller and I say, hey, you know what? I don't know if this is a deal for me based on the X, Y, and Z, the couple of things you told me. I know at the same time, your timeline, you're looking to get rid of this thing as soon as possible. I would have to run this by my numbers guy. We'd have to do a little bit more due diligence, but just shooting from the hip. And again, this isn't like an official offer or anything, but if I was to come in around a $60,000 valuation, and I could just I just cut you a check for $60,000 cash at closing. Is that something you would even be receptive to, or should I just go kick rocks? And then he's gonna start telling you all these different things as to what's going on, why he can or why he can't, or why he wouldn't take it. And then it's up to you from there to really kind of carry that conversation. But I see more people again. I don't know that I'm necessarily worried about repairs as much, because there's a due diligence period for that. What I'm initially trying to do in the initial conversation is just trying to see, hey, are these guys, how motivated are these guys right now? And I'll give you a specific example. I talked to a lady in North Carolina, and I was like the 10,000th investor to call this lady. And so everybody else up to this point had been offered. She was asking for 350,000, and everybody else was offering her around 220, 225, 230, 215, somewhere in that ballpark area. And the mistake that most people were making was they were saying, oh, all right, well, this lady's not motivated. They're either going to disqualify her, or they're going to put her on follow-up. Believe it or not, I was the only one to ask this lady, well, what is it you're trying to do? Why do you need this number? It's kind of like going to a doctor. Like, you don't go to a doctor and say, hey, my tummy hurts, and then he just gives you pills, right? He's checking you out. He's moving your arms. He's checking your breathing. He's, tapping on your knee. He's doing all the things, right? So he could really diagnose what it is that's going on. What have your habits? What have you been eating? Did you sleep well all the night before? Are you on any meds? Are you doing, you know what I mean? He's really asking all these open-ended questions so he can thoroughly understand and better try to pinpoint why your stomach hurts. So think about it like that. We need to approach sellers in that exact same way. So all that offer is really just getting us into the ballpark. We're trying to open up a dialogue here, get the conversation started. So I said, okay, well, if this is where everybody else has been offering you, obviously you're not going to take this. What is it you're trying to do? So I'm asking these other open-ended questions like a doctor would. And she's like, well, I owe $250,000 on my mortgage. I'm asking 350. I've got 100,000 in equity, and I just want to sell this property, take the money, and I want to get up from underneath it. I want to go buy an RV. I just want to go RVing for the next 4 years. I don't want to have to worry about realtors. I don't want to have to worry about showing my house. I don't want to deal with any of that kind of stuff. I just want to take my RV and go RVing. And so then it opened up an opportunity for creative, because I knew more, because I asked questions. Nobody else asked questions. They just tried to submit an offer, submit an offer, submit an offer, submit an offer. And when she said, guys, go kick rocks, it didn't even work. You know what I mean? So they're offering 220. She owes 250 on her mortgage. In order to accept that offer, she would have to come out of pocket 30 grand. Of course, that's not going to work for her. So then I said, well, you got $100,000 in equity. Gloria, why don't we just make this super simple? What if I was to give you a down payment on your equity. So you get 100% of your equity, you get your price, and we just structure something where I just pay you every month. You get mailbox money. That's going to pay for your gas. It's going to get you into an RV. It's going to pay for the fishing and the golfing and all the fun things. Why don't we just keep this super simple? And she's like, oh my gosh, nobody ever presented it like that. I never thought about it like that before. So anyway, we were able to structure it creatively. But the point of me telling you this is we're just throwing these numbers out there as a way to get and see what they would be receptive to. I wouldn't necessarily overthink it. But if I was to say, hey, you know, would you accept 60,000? I'd have to do some more due diligence. Just want to see what it is you're trying to do. What's more important to you? Is it time? Is it money? Is it, you know, what are you trying to do with selling this property?
Okay.
And then if they say, yes, I'd be receptive to something around 60 grand, which is 60% ARV on a $100,000 property, right? Then at that point, I would probably write that down. And then I would start going into understanding what the condition of the property is.
Okay.
But if they say no, kick rocks, then you don't even need to waste any time underwriting it, trying to get comps, trying to get pictures, having people go through the property, anything like that, because you've already disqualified her. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's helpful. Thank you.
Of course. But once you do get to that point, reach out to us and we can help you figure out really getting a better estimate on what that rehab is. But just in short, just to give you something to write down, usually $25 a square foot is going to be around a light rehab. Maybe, you know, $35 a square foot might be more into a heavier rehab, and then, or a medium rehab. And then once you get around that $50 plus a square foot, you're going to start seeing, you know, a lot heavier stuff from there. But at least all we're trying to do right now, don't overthink it. All we're trying to do right now is to just get you a ballpark. And the problem, the problem most people make is they just lock it up too high, not locking it up too low.
Right. Okay. Yeah. I'm definitely overthinking things and trying to analyze every deal before I try to call somebody. So
You're
I
good.
get over that. I know.
Yeah, no worries. No worries. You're good. These are amazing questions. But a lot of the properties that don't get sold is because by the time they send it to either Shane or Cindy or Chris or I, you know, when we look at comps, they're locking this thing up at like 80% ARV, 85%. It's like, dude, had you even tested the waters at 60%, we wouldn't be in the situation we're in right now. And now you got to go in and cancel. Now we got to maybe pivot and see if they're open to creative or any of these other things. So always go, you know, shoot for that 60%, 65% ARV and just kind of see what they'd be receptive to. If they're not, then that's why we're having these Zooms. So we can all start doing stuff creatively as well without utilizing anybody's cash, credit, or credentials. Anything else that the three of you guys would like to add? Sorry, I didn't mean to take all
You
the
are
time.
smooth, Jesse. The words just roll off. We love it.
I
You
got
know-
a question.
Go ahead.
This is Sonia again. I'm sorry. I have a question. Because you said you live in Alaska, and I know I think it's Chris. He lives in New York. And this is just, and it may be too high level for this call, but what are you doing when, because I don't mind wherever I purchase my property at. My property's never been in my local state anyway. But are you doing a foreign entity for those properties, or
Great question.
like I have a holding in Wyoming, but I have an LLC here in Orlando, in Florida. But I want to make sure if I want to purchase out of state, because I never heard of foreign entity until yesterday. And the properties I had in Missouri, I wasn't a foreign entity to. So I'm just trying to find out, does that matter or does it matter?
Chris, you're on mute.
What about now? Sorry about that. So it really depends on specifically what you're trying to do. So for instance, if you're trying to wholesale, it really won't matter. So you can create that one entity and wholesale in off the states versus if you're looking to buy and hold, nine times out of 10, you kind of want to get a entity that's in the same state. Like for instance, we have maybe 9, 10 entities right now. I'm probably missing a few, but I know we have a minimum 9 to 10 entities in the books, and more so there's more to come, because each state, depending on if you're buying, holding, you definitely don't want to put all your properties into one entity. You just never know what that could happen, like, because you don't want to have 100 properties in one entity and then something negative happens to the entity where I don't want to go down the rabbit hole like this. Don't ever get in that situation. Just always have numerous entities, and specifically that specific state. If you're wholesaling, it's
Chris,
fine. Go ahead.
Just to clarify real quick, you're not talking about if they're wholesaling, right? You're talking about just if they're buying and holding.
So so essentially when you're wholesaling, you can have it in any state. When you're buying and holding, you got to have it in the same state.
Okay, so let me clarify that. When you say entity, are you, okay, because it's two types. It's a foreign entity that I don't have to recreate another LLC for that particular property that I want to hold and keep in another state. But then if you're saying the foreign entity, which definition of entity are you using? Foreign entity or creating another LLC entity? Because they're
So
totally two different.
I think you're speaking the same thing, but different terminology, in my opinion. So when you say foreign, what is your definition of foreign?
Well, foreign entity is where you don't create you don't get an EIN number or anything. You just fill it out for that state. You pay a certain fee for that state that you're gonna hold in. And
So
but
you're not creating an LLC then. So
yeah, you're not creating an LLC.
So for example, Chris, when I first bought my first property here in Michigan, I had a Texas LLC. I was in Texas. In order to do that transaction, I had to file in Michigan my Texas LLC as a foreign entity, giving it permission to operate within the state of Michigan. And when I did my second property, at that point I was like, okay, I'm going to do business here. I formed a Michigan LLC to hold Michigan properties. It's just easier. But when you're wholesaling, you're not holding properties. The deals come and go. I don't think it's quite as important as if you're doing business and holding properties, especially if you're going to do any kind of financing. The hard money lenders, lending institutions will require you to file as a foreign entity or establish an LLC in that state.
So it goes back to my question then, more so, why do we need to create a foreign entity? That's what I'm trying to gather.
Yeah.
Well, I think you need to create a foreign entity. Okay, I'm in the state of Florida. I do have a holding company. I also have a registered LLC in the state of Florida. But if I want to purchase something in Texas or Missouri, in another state, and I want to keep that property as a rental property or a short sale, I just want to keep it, I don't want to wholesale it, then I would have to fill out a foreign entity saying that, hey, my LLC out of the state of Florida is going to purchase and hold this property here, versus me having to create a new LLC for that state saying, hey, I got a new LLC in the state of Missouri or the state of Texas, wherever I'm going to rent out this property. Because it's just I think the foreign, because when you say entities, are you saying that you recreate a new LLC for that state if you're going to hold a property? Or do you use foreign entity where you get to hold on to your New York LLC and fill out the paperwork for the state that you want to keep and rent out a property, keep and hold? And do you fill that out? Or are you recreating a whole LLC again?
Again, I think that's a great question for you to have with your CPA, because that's what it comes down to, is really how you're handling and paying your taxes in those different various states. But if you just have the one property, my opinion, and it's only my opinion, is you probably don't need to have a separate LLC in that state. Again, run that by your CPA. But if you're going to do multiple deals and hold multiple properties in that state, I'm pretty sure it's going to be easier for you in the long run to have an LLC in that state. At least it's going to be easier for your bookkeeper to keep track of the expenses and taxes and for that group of properties in that state, because they're different income brackets and requirements.
No, I couldn't agree more. I know Jesse and we don't have any foreign entities right now. Yeah, because initially I know our main one is based out of Florida. But we also have, Pennsylvania, Virginia, New York, Alaska, Arizona. We have a lot of different ones, but that's a good question though. But 100% right, Shane. I think that's a CPA question,
So
depending
to
on.
clarify, so I understand foreign entity, are you meaning like just a state that you don't live in? Like, okay, I don't really understand that.
No, I own LLCs in multiple states. Those are, each one of
Correct.
those are an entity for that state. But for me to have a Texas LLC that owns property in Nebraska, it has to file as a foreign entity for the state of Nebraska for that Texas company to own property or do business in that state.
I see what you mean. So it's not like foreign, okay, I'm
It's
following.
not foreign as in
to
outside the
that
United States,
state.
it's foreign as to that state.
Okay, I just,
Yeah, it's just foreign
terminology,
to it's foreign to the state that you have your original LLC in.
understood now. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Absolutely.
Great question. Heather,
Yep.
what's going on?
Oh, I'm just getting started and really overwhelmed by all the things. I'm like, maybe I'll just flip land. This is too much. Finding entities and title companies and lawyers and figuring out the deals. It's just like, I like talking to people. I want to help people solve their problems, but I'm just paralyzed by the, like, what next after that, estimating repairs seems doable. There's rehab evaluators or or software or website, whatever. I just, just getting kind of overwhelmed and frozen, paralyzed from moving forward. I know how to find people and find deals. I do have a W-2, plus I'm trying to keep up with some projects at home too. So I'm getting a slow start.
So,
That's okay.
Heather, what is your reasoning to be, you want to be involved in real estate and investing?
Well, 60 years old with no retirement.
All right,
I
all
want to
right,
be able to, not work a W-2 the rest of my life.
all right. So you're looking for some long-term growth, and long-term being sooner rather than later.
Well, yeah, I don't want to be 80 and working at Walmart.
All right.
And that's only 20 years from now. So the older you get, the faster they go by, right?
Amen. I know. So
And I
it-
have grandkids, and I have 6 kids and they're all grown. And so, I have some goals as far as personal goals too, have some property in different states to vacation in and help my mom get a house on the coast instead of in the mountains where she lives now. She likes it, but she loves the coast,
So what are some of the things that are holding you back then? Is it just that fear?
pretty much just like, I'm good at talking to people and I can figure things out, but all that paperwork just makes me break out in mental hives.
Well, the good news is I know somebody you can call if you need paperwork.
Yeah.
He's right there.
So
Wait.
I don't mind being
There.
boots on the ground. I'm in Kansas City area, so
Kansas City's a good market.
So Heather, let's talk about that a little bit more. So you don't have, well, first and foremost, the good news is like being overwhelmed. What a blessing, right? Because if you were to hop into a industry where you could make millions and billions of dollars and to be completely overwhelmed, that would suck, wouldn't it?
I
So
suppose.
it's great to be overwhelmed. We're all I think I can speak for all of us. It's we've all been overwhelmed. And it's never a thing that necessarily goes away. I think that's part of just being an entrepreneur. And I think it's also why a lot of people struggle. There's a whole different shift in mindset that has to happen when you go from spending the majority of your life thinking and doing things a certain way, where you show up to a job, you work 40 to 50 hours a week, you kind of, you have a boss, you have somebody to tell you, this is what your next step is. This is what you do. This is when you come to work. This is when you go to lunch. This is blah, 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 blah. Right. So then jumping into a world where you're like, man, everything is, it's all on you. No one's there to tell you to make phone calls. No one's telling you to how to organize this information. No one's giving you all this kind of stuff. So it's a blessing first and foremost, because it provides that opportunity for growth. And that's where we really do a lot of that transformation, because the people that we are right now aren't the people that are going to accomplish our dreams. They're not going to do the things that we want to be doing. We have to become an entirely different person. So that's amazing. To have all these opportunities in front of you, and just, it sounds like you're just trying to have, you're having a little bit of a struggle, just trying to figure out, I've got all the keys to the kingdom now.
Yeah,
Just really
yeah.
not sure which door to start from. Is that a good way to kind of sum it up?
Yeah, well, I'm just gonna focus on wholesaling to start out.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Perfect. So you mentioned that finding leads is not a problem, right?
Yeah, I mean, I've got some systems in place for that.
Okay. That's
I
good.
just haven't sat down and, dedicated hours to it.
The great thing about this whole thing is that it's not something you have to dedicate hours to. I think what a lot of people, when it comes to like goal setting and figuring out what it is that they want to do, they really make it into this mountain that it really not is. To give you an example, there's a rule of 100. Have you ever heard of it? So if you do something for 100 hours, whether that's a skill, a habit, whatever, if you develop the consistency to focus on one thing for 100 hours, you become better than 95% of the people in the world at that one thing. And so when it comes to wholesaling, for example, we need to figure out what is your gift? What is your superpower? What is it that you love doing? We've already talked to a couple of individuals where, they like talking to sellers, or they didn't like talking to sellers. And that's where you go find somebody else who can complement the skill set that you have. So if you can commit 18 minutes a day, actually 18 minutes a day over the course of a year, that equals 100 hours, and you become better than 95% of the people at that. So it's just the small things. It's just the consistency that most people lack. So if you can find leads and you've got systems and processes in place, the next step would be to be contacting those leads and having a conversation with them.
Yeah.
Are you doing that? Or is that the obstacle we're at right now?
I haven't dedicated enough time to, get a list and scrub the list. And then you wonder how much you're supposed to look at it before you go talk to it.
I just want to can you clarify that a little bit? How much you're supposed to look at it before you talk to them? Like, do you got like batch leads or
Like if I know
prop stream
they're
or
in
something like that?
like if I know they're in pre-foreclosure,
Okay.
should I look at like when the foreclosure date is set before I go talk to them?
No.
So I can say, hey, you're facing foreclosure in 17 days. I've heard some people use that as an example.
Yeah, I mean, you can, for me, just in the interest of getting started. There's a lot of people like who reach out and say, Jesse, hey, I need help with this lead. I need help with this lead. What information do you need to know? I'm really good just getting on the phone and having a conversation with people and trying to dissect the specific information. And so, and a lot of people, when it comes to pre-foreclosure, and I'll talk about this for a second, just because you brought it up, most people are in denial.
Yeah.
So if you've got a list of like 5,000 prospects, for example, who are all in pre-foreclosure, you taking the time to go in there and find out specific things about that before you call them is going to allow you to maybe only talk to 20 people that day, as opposed to you could have made 100 plus phone calls that day.
Right.
And of those 20 people that you called, you might only get a hold of 3 of them. So then all of that time was wasted. And so we've all got the same 24 hours in a day. And so whether you're Grant Cardone or Warren Buffett or, whatever, there's certain things that other people are doing to better capitalize on that with the amount of time that we all have. So when it comes to your prospects specifically, I think just call them. I would think just call them and say, hey, I noticed there may have been some issues with your mortgage or, whatever. Can you tell me a little bit more about that? And then just get them to open up, just get them to talk about it. Now, my next question would be, though, Is that something you love doing? Do you love getting on the phones and talking with people? Or is that something you'd rather
I
have
am good
somebody
at
else
talking to
do?
people on the phone.
Okay, cool. Cool,
That's
easy money.
in
So
my
you can get your
skill-
own lists and you
It's
can
in
call
my
people.
skills. Yeah.
Beautiful.
I
So
don't mind going to a
what
house and looking at it, either. So
what's keeping you from calling 100 people tomorrow?
it's mostly just my job right now and feeling exhausted all the time. So
Okay,
working on that. Working on that.
that's okay.
Yeah. And
So-
and getting my list together and scrubbed first. I don't have that yet. So
Okay, so you
That's-
just need
that's
to,
my
you need to
biggest
get your
thing
list and
preventing
skip
me.
trace it.
yeah.
Okay. Well, I know that's, are you using like PropStream or what are you using to do that?
Looked at so many different things lately. PropStream, I just felt like it was a little pricey for me right now.
Okay.
So there's PropWire, which is free. So that's great. And I forget what else. I've been watching some Jerry Norton videos and getting I like watching his videos of him talking to sellers. So, and
Oh,
agents.
Jerry's awesome.
Yeah. So he's got videos of him just talking to people for an hour. It's great. Different people. But so that makes it to where you kind of feel like you know what to say and what questions to ask and stuff like that. But yeah, I've got PropWire and I've got his software to skip trace,
Mhm.
stuff like that. So like I
Okay.
said, I have the tools.
Okay.
Just have to
Well,
dedicate time.
Rocio made a great point over here.
Yep.
She in the comments, she said, Heather, JV was someone that can provide a list for you. Would that help alleviate some of that time?
Hope we didn't
Sorry,
hear
I
that.
I couldn't hear you.
Oh, I said, yeah, for sure.
Okay.
I mean, I kind of
So-
want to do it. I just haven't gotten around to it.
Well, that it goes back to that accountability thing too, from the JV aspect. Like if you got somebody who can provide you a list and a list that they have skip traced, that holds you that much more accountable to make sure that you're hitting that list because they now have $200 or $300 invested in it from skip tracing that list. So now they're counting on you to figure out how to make that time happen. And if you got any questions when it comes to time blocking or time management, I am like a time blocking fiend. So if that's something, we can spend an entire day and I can show you guys some of the things that I do specifically to help me get everything that I get done in the day and how to bring in and leverage, other people and relationships and making sure that everybody's winning and making money. So if that
That would
ever
be
is a time,
helpful.
please
It'd be
feel free to
helpful
reach
to
out.
about 1,000 of us.
Say what?
That would be helpful to all the beginners out on here.
Oh, I love it.
That'd be
Okay.
helpful to me. I struggle with time blocking even to this day, but when I first started off, that's one of the things I did, Heather, was just I had to commit to I'm going to call 10 people today. And I'm going to call 10 people every day for the next 90 days and stick to it, whatever that number is that you can do, whatever, whatever, I don't know your schedule, but while you're listening to Jerry Norton, pull up in your laptop over here and you're scrubbing your list. Don't just listen to Jerry, absorb that conversation because it's great to hear, but make sure you're moving yourself forward to your goals.
I've heard that evening is the best time to try to call people. Is that true?
In my honest opinion, I would not overthink it. If you got to make 100 phone calls that day, do not do it or do not make your numbers simply because you think that people are going to answer at this time of day as opposed to others.
100% agree. Yeah. Because everybody's
So-
schedule is different. You don't know until you make contact with them.
Rocio said, just do it. 100% right. Jesse and I got a
And
perfect example.
especially if they're in foreclosure, they're not necessarily working. So
Right. And a lot of them are in denial.
Yep.
You might call them I just want to preface with this because you're going to call a lot of people, and the ones that do answer, or they're going to tell you, hey, no, nothing's wrong. We've got this. We don't need your help. We don't blah, 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 blah. Right. But if they got 90 days till their house gets auctioned, for a lot of people, it doesn't cognitively hit them till maybe they're at day 45 or even 50 before they're like, oh, snap. I've got to do something to get rid of this house. So they don't know it, but they're waiting for. That's why follow-up is so stinking important. So if you call them on day 2 or day 3 or day 10 or 15 or 20, and they tell you, hey, don't worry about it. Stop bugging me. Stop calling me. You got to make sure that you're following up, because if you don't, somebody else is, and they are the ones that are going to get the deal.
Absolutely.
So Heather, real quick, before I let you go, since this is in front of everybody, it's recorded. I want to hold you accountable. What are you going to do tomorrow? What are your steps? What are you going to commit to?
I'm gonna commit to scrubbing a list and creating a call list. Until
Sorry,
somebody wants to-
scrubbing a list and then what?
Making a list of people to call.
Okay. How big's your list going to be?
I don't know. It depends on how much it costs.
Okay. So we say
1,000, maybe 1,000.
1,000.
Not-
So if
Not
you
the,
skip,
not the final list, but like to scrub it and, skip trace it, I mean.
so 1,000 at what, 14 cents a skip trace is what, $140?
I get it for 10.
Yeah.
You get it for 10. Okay. So $100. Okay. Are you going to do that tonight? Okay. So you'll have 1,000 prospects, skip trace, and ready to go tomorrow. How many are you going to call tomorrow?
I could probably call 100.
Call 100?
I do it while I work. I'm a seamstress. So, and I'm
Gotcha.
working from home right now, so
Gotcha.
I
Okay.
could do that.
Well, it's just great. It's just great to start setting some goals, prioritizing things, and just get in there and just do it. Just do it. Cause then you'll start figuring out, hey, you know what? Between what I'm doing at work and the amount of phone calls I try to make the last week, I've shot for 100 every time. Maybe you're hitting 80, maybe you're hitting 90, or shoot, maybe you come to find out that, hey, you know what? The majority of the people that I'm calling are not answering. So I'm going to have to go back and follow up with that. Maybe I need to up it to 200 today. I need to be trying to call 200 people a day, because the majority of the people, the reality is the majority of the people that you're going to call are not going to answer.
Right. And don't think of it as a failure if you only talk to 10 people. It's awesome that you talk to 10 people. That made 10 phone calls, because sometimes you'll call 100 people and it's just that fast. And then we get on the phone with one person. If they take an hour to tell their whole story, that's gold.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Heather. I appreciate you. Did we answer your question? Did you get everything you needed, at least right now? I know the rest is going to be overwhelming.
I didn't really have a question. It was just, blah.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. Awesome. Well, you've got some homework then, at least.
And come back and tell us how you're doing.
Absolutely.
All right. We've got a couple more questions. Thank you again, Heather. And then we'll kind of wrap this thing up. And like I said, this is great feedback. I'd love to hear what everybody's doing, what you guys are wanting in the side comments, because that's also going to give the 4 of us a better idea on where you guys are in your journey and where we can start better tailoring these things based on what you guys are trying to accomplish and what you're going through. So we'll get through Nicole and Julie real quick, and then we'll go ahead and wrap it up for today. Julie, what's going on?
Hey, how are you?
Wonderful.
Two questions. One, what do you think about, or in general, what's your opinions about homes that are built before 1960? Because I keep hearing to stay away from those because of potential challenges. So I just wanted, in general, what's your opinion about
I really think it's based on your preference.
it? Okay.
I really think it's based on preference and the area specifically. If it's an appreciating market, and I know because of Jesse, we own properties that's prior to 1960, right? So we so I can't say not to do it. Versus like we have right now, new builds 2023. under contract. So that's a big difference. And it really,
Right.
I know that's really not a great answer, but it really all depends on your preference. I'm sorry.
Okay, no, that's okay. That's okay. And, you know, we're in Texas. And so when you get to homes about, you know, older than 1960, you're talking about pier and beam foundations and all that kind of stuff. And that can create all kinds of situations when you talk about rehab. So I know that's one of the reasons why, but I just wanted a general opinion. For people who have done this,
Unless
but I
Shane,
have not.
Cindy, what are you guys' thoughts?
No,
Jesse?
it's personal preference because it really depends. Yeah, there are some special things that come up when you deal with older homes, right? The construction is
Right.
different. You know, you might come into lead-based paint, you might come into lead pipes and for water.
Lead pipes is it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
just all sorts of weird
foundation.
things start to come up in that
Yeah.
whole history.
Yeah.
But a lot of
Yeah.
people, and I just saw a comment, I didn't see who it was by, but actually you can do fix and flips in historic districts where all the
Yeah.
houses are going to be guaranteed to be older than that.
Mhm.
And that's a thing, people looking for that. And but beware that when you're into like a historic district, your cost per square foot for rehabs can,
Yes, yeah.
yeah, it can be completely different. from Everybody thinks
Yeah.
on the street.
Different
So,
ballgame.
Yeah.
Okay, last question. Thank you for that. Last question. So on some homes that we've been looking at, when I go to skip trace them, I kind of don't know exactly what I'm looking for. I know that you're looking for if there's any, you know, mortgages, any liens, any that kind of stuff. But when I'm getting into the skip tracing business, you know, review, what exactly should I be looking for?
The hottest thing right now is pre-foreclosures.
Mhm.
And no equity.
I would say the same thing. There was an article about it, how foreclosures are completely skyrocketed,
Yep.
pre-foreclosures.
Okay.
So Julie, what market are you looking in? What market are you considering?
Well, we're in Texas, of course, so Texas, but I'm also open to really homes across the South and the Midwest. You know, we want to fix and flip mostly, but we're also looking for a couple of short-term rentals, more so in tourist kind of areas, more travel prone areas. Because in Dallas, they've just banned short-term rentals. Like they said, no more.
Yep.
Plano, where we live, same thing.
Yeah.
So in Texas, I'm getting a little nervous about short-term rentals just in the city area. So I was going to look more in the tourist kind of towns and that kind of thing, more for that kind of deal. So that's what we're
Yeah.
looking for.
You tried midterms over there or corporate rentals?
No,
Dallas?
that's one thing that I'm starting to look at and really starting to hone in on more so from a condo and townhome standpoint than a house, but starting to consider those as well.
Okay, no, I think that'd be a phenomenal idea because I just know even just the one that Jesse and I have over in Virginia, you know, even before we take down a property, we always gotta have a minimum of 2 exit strategies, and long term being one of them. And literally, this specific one worked as a long term, a short term, a midterm, corporate. It like has so many different exit strategies. It was ridiculous. And
Yeah.
literally within a couple weeks, we actually they reached out to us. One of the agents specifically, unfortunately, her daughter and the pipes burst in the house. I'm just gonna say the pipes burst in the house, flooded their entire house. State Farm was the agency. They was willing to pay premium prices as a midterm rental for at least 6 months. PITI, principal interest, tax, and insurance on this property was $1,300. It's still $1,300. Now, as a long term, we was going to put a tenant in place for $2,400. Now, State Farm got approval that they was going to pay us $4,150. $4,150.
Holy.
So where do we sign? So that's what happened.
Yeah.
And it was
How many
guaranteed. And it was guaranteed for 6 months. And you know, we asked about the what ifs. You know, what if the house is repaired prior to the 6 months? What does that look like? It was guaranteed. So whether it was fixed within 6 months, and also they gave us a 60-day written notice and say, hey, just to let you know specifically that the house may be done. And we was in all communication, and if we wanted to renew and or increase the premium, because they gave us the initial, it was like a back and forth, like a email here and there, but more so we could have transparently, we could have asked for $5,800. So that was the max.
It's awesome.
But midterm rentals, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to go on a tangent a little bit, but
That's
just
okay.
midterm
Yeah.
rentals are amazing.
Yeah, no, we've been looking at that a lot, especially near the hospital district.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. But great
Yeah,
question.
okay. Okay, thank you so much.
Thanks.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And Nicole.
Hello, how are you guys? I have my issue is with leads. This is what I did. I went on PropStream. I got my foreclosure leads. I'm glad you guys talked about the foreclosures tonight, and I got that. I partnered with another Ream sister. I'm from New York, and I partnered with her, but I'm also back and forth between New York and Jersey. So I partnered with her, and not only did I use PropStream, I also added foreclosures.com and Sheriff List. And I put them on whatever properties I found on those, I put them on PropStream, and we created a list. We went out there. Oh, before that, I also did, I sent out postcards to all of those people, as well as emails. So after that, I told her, well, now that we sent that out, let's go talk to them in person. When we went there, I mean, we spent 5 hours one day, 6 hours another day, knocking on doors. But the problem we had was that a lot of the houses were either abandoned, which according to PropStream, it wasn't, or, you know, vacant, or it was already sold or auctioned. So I know they did say that PropStream isn't it's not updated as far as foreclosures, which is why I included the foreclosure.com and the Sheriff List. But some people we met, they were like, oh, I just bought the house a month ago, or I just bought the house 2 weeks ago, you know, and I'm like, where did all my postcards go to? I already spent money. I was like, what happened to it? I didn't know it. So it's like we were too late. So where can I get an accurate list for foreclosures?
So I think PropStream is a great one, but however, you mentioned New York, Jersey. So essentially, power to you, because I can't do the door knocking thing. I mean, I can't say I can't, I won't do the door knocking thing. I tried it for about a day. It wasn't for me.
Yeah, it was a good experience, because I was a little leery about talking to people. When you're from New York, knocking on people's doors could be dangerous. So I was happy that I had someone to partner with, but I actually liked it. I actually did well talking to them. So I surprised myself. But
no, absolutely. I think that's amazing. And more so, I did it one day. I did it in Jersey, actually, with Rich Mendez. He's actually a great connection you should reach out to. He got literally a door knocking team. He got this mobile app that literally you can plug in all the, just say on the hypothetical, you got 100 properties. You plug it into the app, all the properties, and literally you put your destination and where you're starting from, and literally it will synchronize them where literally it's going like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, where you're not just looping around the circles. You're literally going order based on how you got the property. It was pretty amazing. We was in the truck, we was driving around. We literally personalized every single visit. When door knocking, you literally, it's like a posture. You can't stand a certain way. You can't communicate a certain way. It's a lot of different things you got to change, because you need to bring the wall down. These are people, like Jesse stated earlier, they're in denial. So it's a little things you just got to change a little bit. Like for instance, a perfect example, myself, my first time doing it, I'm just walking up to the door. Rich is walking. He said, Chris, no, what do you mean? I'm about to knock on the door. He said, no, you have to stand this way, then knock on the door, because the window, they can see through the window. They're gonna, it's just a lot of different things where
we actually did that. We stood, we didn't get too close to the door. We stood a little further back, you know, so that we could see. I actually looked around as much as I could. In the front, looked on the side, looked on the back. You know, we noticed there was another door. One door was locked in the front. They couldn't open that, so that we had to go around to the side. And as far as the map that you're talking about, where you could, what we did was we did it by zip code, so that from the next house, it was like 5 minutes away. And then the next house was another maybe 10 minutes away. So we kept it all in that area, so we wouldn't have to go back and forth all over the place, because that's how we started out on the first day. So we kind of tweaked it later on. But
no, that's great. I like
how
that.
do you get the list so that I
Perhaps,
can,
the county and or Rich Mendez, I can throw you his information. He's the perfect candidate to talk to about that kind of door knocking stuff, because I don't know the name of the specific app he utilizes, but I know it's a great app. And literally every door we went to 7 doors. For transparency, we went to 7 doors. 3 of them
Mhm.
opened the door, the other 4 was in denial, right? So we, even when they denied us, we left. But before we left, we had post-it notes, and we left like a little note on each door. Literally
Right.
each door, personalize it, and literally from those 7 visits, 3 of them went on a contract within 2 weeks, which
Oh,
is
well,
not bad because they're gonna be in
personal.
denial, but they're gonna give you a call back because it's gonna face reality, right? So it's just more so, as Jesse stated, like those kind of individuals, you got to kind of break down the wall a little bit. It come from a different approach. You can't just say, "Hey, I know you're behind." You got to approach it a different way.
Well, I didn't
Uh,
even get a chance to approach anybody because all the houses, or most of the houses on my list was gone. And then it seemed like I was too late. So I know you talk about foreclosures is like the hot market now. So how do you get those lists? Where are you getting the list
the county,
from?
your
The
local
county?
county. Literally call either call, actually they won't mail it out. So essentially you may have to go down to your county and then specifically ask them,
So
hey,
you're in New York. What is that county? What part of
I'm
New
in
York are you
upstate. I'm in I can't say upstate because Cindy's on the thing. I'm in Western New York.
Yes, he's
I
in
mean,
Western, he's not
Western.
upstate.
So I'm in Monroe County, and if I was going to my county's office, I would just say specifically, "Hey, can I get last month's foreclosure list for
Oh,
Monroe County?"
okay.
And they could tell you yes. You'd be shocked how thick the paper is, though. You'd be
Okay.
very shocked.
You're gonna
All
wanna
right. Well,
find
I'm
out
glad
when
to hear
the
that. I'm in Kings County. So,
Oh, you
all
you about
right.
you're gonna wanna
6 or
find out when
7 hours away
Kings
from me.
County drops their list. It might be like the second Tuesday of every month or something like that.
So I'm putting
And
Rich
that
number.
way
I'm
you
sorry,
know
Shane.
to
Go ahead.
get out there
Okay.
and get after that list because you already know that there's a lot of investors running that list.
Yeah.
So that list
We
is 3,
actually
4 weeks
came in
old.
contact with one of the door, like we knocked on one of the doors and this real estate lady answered. And she was telling us that she had just bought that house. There was actually people in there fixing it. And she was like, listen, she says, people know people around and you know, with different investors, and some might look out for others, you know, before it gets out there. And she was like, you got to work fast. She says, because if you don't, it's here today and tomorrow it's gone. So, I mean, it was just on the property. A lot of those places was just on the property, the foreclosure.com list. And just like that, we get there, it's still on the list, but it's gone already. And I'm like, it says that they update daily. So I was a little confused.
Yeah,
Right.
it really depends on what the stage is too. It really all depends on the stage.
Okay.
I personally lost the property in foreclosure. Literally, I went to go buy the property, and I kid you not, literally 3 weeks later, we found out somebody else bought it. We closed on the property, even with the attorney. We closed on the property to find out specifically the attorney sent the funds to the seller, not to the lender, to catch up their arrears.
Oh no.
So luckily, the seller called me and said, "Hey, Chris, just to let you know, I have a check." I had like, this number sound familiar. Like, what are you doing with the check? And now he could have went to go cash that, right? And then
Yes,
I'd have
but
been
he
screwed.
got in
But he
trouble.
was honest and he let us know. And I said, please return to the law firm. He returned to the law firm. This is actually over in Texas, Alabama, Texas, or Abilene, Texas. That's what it is.
Okay.
And we
Let's keep
lost the
going.
house 3 weeks,
Texas rolled
3
over.
weeks later. And like, I'm so glad we didn't start any of the renovation because that was the next steps.
Okay. Well, thank you guys. That's all I really wanted to know. Where do I get the list? So I'm gonna go to the local county then and do that
Yeah.
because it's
Yeah,
taking.
find out
I've
when
only
that
been in it for 3 months now, and it's I haven't gotten anything. But I did go out there for hours, and it's unfortunately the person that I was joining with, she got discouraged. She doesn't want to do any more door knocking, so I got to find somebody else and just get out there.
No,
all right.
absolutely.
Looks like Derek aka Pam has a question.
Hey guys.
Pam.
Hey, Kitty, Chris. I put in the chat, but I didn't know if you saw it. One of the best videos I've seen through this process is Pace on YouTube walking. He's in a house that they got, and he's writing on the wall, and he's doing the breakdown of the offer and everything. But I really think for me, and I don't know how other people feel, if this group could say someone comes up with a deal they're considering for wholesaling or buying wholes, if this group could kind of break down the whole process from beginning to end, from acquiring the property, assessing it for being a good deal, making the offer, talk about how you'd get funding, closing it, and all that. Is that a possibility, you think, like on a whiteboard or?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I
100%.
think that should be a staple. I think that was an amazing idea. I do. If you guys have deals and stuff, like let's bring them on here. Let's make that, part of this the Zoom that we're doing.
Okay,
I love that.
ask that. Thank you.
And Pam,
Of course.
you should lead that, by the way.
Right. I'll have to turn my video on for that. But if you want me to try to lead it, I will.
Well,
But
we appreciate you.
Pam, were you the one asking about the mobile home?
yes.
Okay, well, I have your number, or call me, you have my number too, let's talk about it.
Okay. I will.
Sounds good.
Amazing.
Thank you all for organizing this. It's just a great group. And the
Yeah.
other thing I wanted to say, and I've shared this with Jesse, I know, before, is when you first come into sub 2 and you learn that it's all about building the relationships. And in my case, I'm a PML 2, but it's so scary, like who to trust.
Mhm.
So, like with Jesse and Chris, I've kind of intuitively, I know I can trust them, so I'm kind of gravitating toward them. But for other people coming in, it certainly doesn't work to join a team of other new beginners. I've tried that too. It's like nobody knows what the hell's going on. But it's so it's so scary to know who to trust, And that's just something I wanted to point out. So if we come up with something that we look at and we think, I think this is a good deal, we haven't even underwritten it yet, say. And can we call one of you? And when you talk about JV, for me, I don't think of JV as 50-50 split or anything like that. I would expect to get a much lower percentage if the deal closed with you guys, leading us through it. Is that accurate, or is that even possible? Can you send a lead and say, I think this is a good deal. I don't even know how to determine the best dispo for it.
That is a phenomenal question, Pam.
It is a
And
phenomenal
the exact reason why we're doing this, because that's what we want to do. We want to JV with you guys, and the specifics to each deal and what that partnership is going to look like is going to be, well, specific to each deal. So I'd be hesitant to, to say one way or another, just say a blanket statement. Hey, this is how we're all going to work together. Everybody has different goals. Everybody else, has different things that they're trying to accomplish. And, that JV partnership, there's got to be a parallel to what we bring to the table, what you guys are bringing to the table to get this deal across the finish line. So, but yeah, thank you for addressing that. That's exactly what we want to do. We wanted to create a space that everybody could feel like they could feel comfortable coming in, that it was consistent. Everybody's, like you said, it's hard to know who to JV with because you don't know who you can trust and build a relationship with. And so consistency is going to be one of the biggest things, community and consistency. And that's what most people lack. And so we thought, hey, you know what? If we could at least come in here and do something at least at a bare minimum once a week for you guys and provide that safe space, and allow everybody the opportunity. Hopefully, we saw the comments just going off throughout the last couple hours, which has been amazing. So hopefully everybody's taken the opportunity to get to know the individuals that were on this call and in Shane and Cindy's group as well, and to build those relationships, because the more hands you shake, the more money you make. And so that's what we all want to do. And so whatever it is that you guys need, we all have a handful of experience over the course of a lot of years, be it wholesaling or fix and flips or creative finance, mobile home parks, anything and everything you guys think of. And if there's something that we don't know, you know what? I bet we know somebody that does. So
That's
anything that we can do to be a resource for you guys, that's what this whole thing is about. We don't want any money from you guys. We want to create an environment where we can all do deals and learn and grow together. That's what this whole thing is. So
I do think it's important. I think I mentioned this before. Like I mentioned, if we did get you guys involved from just the point of finding a property, I think this is a good deal. You know, you go out there and you spend money on systems, and of course we've spent money on stuff too. But for me to be able to be handheld, like you mentioned earlier, through a specific deal and actually see all the steps, and then paying you guys in the JV agreement is much more valuable than spending money on this other stuff, trying to figure it out alone, that kind of thing.
I totally agree. And, you know, I'm so glad you brought that up, because that's something that I personally resonate with. I had a friend who reached out to me a handful of years ago, and we hadn't talked. We were childhood friends. We hadn't talked in like almost, 15, 20 years. So we're kind of just doing this thing on Facebook where we're like, hey, what are you up to? What are you up to? Do you got kids? Where you live in? Blah, 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 that whole thing. And he's like, hey, have you ever thought about getting into real estate? I was like, no, dude, I'm in the military. Like, it's not like I've got $100,000 just burning a hole in my pocket so that I can, go buy a fourplex or something. And so anyway, long story short, what I'm getting at is he ended up convincing me to join his program. And what happened here? I think I inadvertently answered the phone. Can you guys hear me or no?
We hear you.
But you're
You
just
can't see
smart.
me.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know what the crap is going on here. I don't know what's going on. Anyway, I'll just finish talking. I don't know why my stuff's not working anymore. But anyway, I ended up paying a lot of money for what ended up being, basically a bunch of recorded YouTube videos, and it didn't really get me anywhere. And I wish to hell that somebody would have said, Jesse, dude, you don't need to do all this. Like, here, I can give you a little bit and I'll show you how to start putting some goals in place, and go and do that, and then come back and let's work these things together, dude. We can make money. You get an education. You'll start to learn and see things and meet people that you otherwise, wouldn't have. So, yeah, that's the entire point of putting this together. So I really appreciate you bringing that up. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Of
Thank you,
course,
Pam.
absolutely.
All right.
So essentially, moving forward, guys, we're going to try to have this at least once a week. 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If anything changes, we'll definitely let you know. Again, feel free to reach out to any one of us, Cindy, Shane, Jesse. We're all here for you. Just be a resource. We want to make sure that you're not stuck. We get your deals to the finish line. And we're looking at JV. Shane just posted the link again. He's also going to post it within the community day as well, so you guys have access to it. And for those who did miss it, where are we going to post the recording? I just thought about it.
Yeah, this will be rendered tonight.
Okay.
And I'll post it out to the YouTube, and I'll post a link to the YouTube channel tomorrow. And it's probably still early in Alaska, but it's getting late here. But I'll get it out.
If I had a goal for this group, just the people that are on here, I think there's 27 people, right? That every one of you will get a deal. And by September 15th, everyone will have their first deal by September 15th with no money out of their pocket.
Absolutely.
Just
I love that.
JVing. And we want to make sure that happens.
That
So-
would be
I
awesome.
think that is freaking killer.
Yes. So please, we want to help you.
Absolutely. And
Hey,
if
we
you
mean it,
guys
guys.
you don't know how to get to that first deal, let us know. We'll help you get those first steps. There's so many different ways to do this. So
I love that. Angie just said she wants her first deal by the end of August. I love that.
That's
Very cool.
fabulous. That's fabulous.
I love it.
The key is intention, guys. The key is intention. So leaving out of here, hopefully you guys, before you go to bed tonight, put some goals down in place, put something on paper that you guys can start shooting for. Do not wake up tomorrow. The most people wake up as if it was on accident.
Yeah.
Every single day. They wake up as if it was on accident. And they're like, man, I have no idea what I'm going to do today. I have no idea how many people's DMs I'm going to slide into. I have no idea what those conversations are going to be like. Don't know if they're going to be on Zoom, if they're going to be a phone call. Don't know what they are going to be coming out of it. You can't run a business like that. So start putting some goals in place tonight for some of the things that we talked about. So when you wake up tomorrow morning, you know exactly where you are starting. And for some of you, that might be reaching out to some of the people that you met tonight on this call. For some of you, that might be, or you've got a list and you're going to start making phone calls tomorrow. Start doing something. We're here to support you guys in any way that we can. And thank you guys again for being here. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Yes.
Appreciate it.
Everyone have a great night.
Good night. Thank
Have a
you.
good one, guys.
Bye. Absolutely. Bye-bye.
Thank
Good
you.
night.
Bye-bye.
Bye.